5 facts about Bitcoin. Love it or hate it, Bitcoin is always in the news. There's always something going on. Fact number 1, this thing is over $1,800 now. It is adding $1 billion in market cap in 24 hours, the last 24 hours, and it seems to be doing this kind of thing regularly. It's at new highs, it's at fresh highs. It always seems to shrug off all this negative news. We've had news about it not being in the ETF being approved. We've had exchanges being hacked. We've had money being lost. We've had governments wanting to clamp down on it, but it just seems to shrug it off and keep moving. From a pure trading perspective, this is just an absolute raw auction supply demand thing. The underlying fundamentals are purely driven by the news flow on either side, bullish, bearish, and this is the ultimate thing that we've got. A parabolic price that I would hate to even have a guess of where this is going to go. This could go up to 5,000 before it comes right back down again. It could go to 1,000. It could go back. It could go anywhere. It's purely driven by news. But boy, is it interesting. Okay, fact number 2. The Winklevoss twins tried to get an ETF approved with the SEC. However, that wasn't approved. But this fact is that it may well be reassessed. So if an ETF comes into play, expect this thing to absolutely go to the moon potentially, because if they remove the barrier of entry and more people can get involved in it, we may well see this thing absolutely skyrocket. And vice versa, if it gets rejected again, then perhaps that's going to be the dent that gives it a smash. Okay, fact number 3. The Chinese still hate it. I've got this article here. Hopefully you can bring it in so you can see. I found this little article. I've been digging around, seeing what we've got, and the Chinese just hate it because, or the Chinese government hate it. The Chinese people love it. That is a massive amount of people in China buying it. It's the number 1 currency that buys Bitcoin. It's the biggest, by far the biggest people who are buying Bitcoin. But you know what? The government don't like it because they think that people are trying to get around those capital controls that they've got. So they're clamping down the exchanges. They're saying to them, listen, you've got to be regulated. You've got to make sure that you have all these loopholes closed. We don't mind it as such at the moment. This is the kind of the game that we're playing. They don't mind it as such, but as long as the trading platforms are secure, they're adhering to the government regulations. And I guess while that's happening, then they're comfortable. If it doesn't happen, then you know what? China could flip the other way and could completely go, shut it all down. That's why you've got a little thumbnail here. Beijing threatens to shut down Bitcoin exchanges. Who knows? It could go either way. So that's an interesting fact. Okay, look at the number 4. Russia and Japan are going to authorize it and allow it to be used for payments. Now, where's the article that I dug out for us on this one? Yep, here we go. Bitcoin now is, yen is the second most liquid market, and Japanese media has been going crazy for it. It's all over in Japan, so this is why we're probably seeing this sort of real burst of volume now and burst of move now. A lot of Japanese media are covering it, a lot of yen buying coming into it, and Japan, the government, have said that they're going to accept Bitcoin as a legal currency with major retailers, which is massive for something like Bitcoin, something that was so under the cosh and so hated by so many. Now you're seeing governments allowing it to be used. Same with Russia. Russia is now saying that in the next few months they are going to recognize it as a digital currency, and it's going to be more accessible, it's going to be more regulated, and they're going to see it as a genuine thing as opposed to a fad. And then the final thing is, in Australia, Bitcoin is going to become just like money in the 1st of July. So in other words, there's some issue here with Australians are paying twice the sales tax on it, but it's going to be all scrapped. It's going to be legalized. I don't think it was illegal before, but it's going to have legislation wrapped around it. It's going to become part of the whole economy out there, and digital currency businesses are going to be welcomed. So that is pretty much what is going on with Bitcoin. It is going absolutely crazy. Hey, the final thing, I don't know if we've run out of 5, but let me just add this one because this is a negative one. There was some talk that there's a problem with the way that Bitcoin is processed. Now, a lot of people are positive about blockchain, which is the underlying fundamentals behind Bitcoin, but not so much Bitcoin. So could Bitcoin splinter off? Could we have the blockchain technology, which is good, going one way and people investing in that, and Bitcoin going the other way and it failing completely? Or do they go hand in hand? As blockchain goes higher and gets more traction and gets more credibility, so does Bitcoin. It's going to be interesting to find out. Anyway, whatever happens to Bitcoin, it's a really interesting market to watch from a trader's perspective. If you're interested in the financial markets, if you're a trader, an investor, even if you're not into Bitcoin, even if you don't have any Bitcoin or you don't care about it, purely from a perspective of seeing how news flow is affecting price, it's a pure supply demand auction process for this thing at the moment, and it's really interesting to watch. Interesting to watch how negative news affects it, interesting to watch how positive news affects it, and really good kind of getting a little bit of a lesson in how social aspects are affecting the underlying price, especially when the whole world is into it. It's not just like a stock that's very country specific. It is the whole world getting into this now. So really interesting, guys. So keep an eye on Bitcoin. It's BTC USD if you want to go on one of your platforms. Worth keeping an eye on. Loads of interesting stuff going on. But anyway, there are my 5, or maybe was it 6, facts about Bitcoin.